Hey guys, MrPopZit here. It's the holiday season. MPZ10, 10% off discount code on all skin medicinals from Thanksgiving Day till January 2nd. Give it a try. If you've been waiting, this is your chance. Get it for friends and family. You're gonna love it. Thanks for popping by. Okay guys, here we go. MrPopZit here, and we have more Steatocystomas. This is our fourth or fifth. We were just trying to figure out. I think it might be at the fifth. And you can see, just like on the abdomen, it can hide in tissue that has a little bit of fat tissue behind it. This is the upper chest here. And when we pull that, you can kind of see those little bumps, especially when I side light it all the way across. Same on the edge here. We want to get those. These are the medium to larger size that she has. So we're going to get a little bit of numbing on some of them, and then a little 11 blade, and we'll poke some of these out. She does have some scars from before, even before we started working on her, but for the most part in her lower abdomen, very little hyperpigmentation, just a little bit of brown, but not bad. So I'm just gonna wipe her down and mark some of these and get her all prepped and ready, and we'll get started. So we have her prepped and ready, and you can see here, these are just little clusters all through here. And hers are always pretty full for the size they are. They're pretty firm. It's not always the case with everybody, but for her, for sure. For her, for sure, that rhymes. Get these little clusters here. And I do give her a little dollop of lidocaine on the surface. It just deadens that little blade going in. And here we're working on the upper chest. So it is definitely not our goal to cause pitted scars or to go through and be very heavy-handed here. We're really trying to reduce bumps. That is the main goal. There was one actually underneath that one I could still feel. It's interesting. And we have already done, this is her fourth or fifth as we were talking, and she does really well with just a little pokes and healing as far as hyperpigmentation goes. So we move forward with this protocol of just real small pokes and trying to get the sac as empty as we can. That's good. Can really feel such a huge difference too. When I know it's hard to see, but when I have these in my hands and we're pushing on them, they just deflate like a water balloon popping kind of. Sometimes you feel some residual sac, sometimes you don't. Through these three right there. Good. Let me get some new gauze. So after I do a little section, I'll kind of come through here and really try to get a good squeeze on the base to get any last little tiny remnants out like that. Everybody's favorite thing to say is you didn't clear it on your initial poke. And that's common. That's why we come back and check which ones are clear, which ones aren't. You see these tiny little bits. It's just the very bottom. Very good. That one too. One thing I like to do in an area is kind of do what's called a sac test. And we kind of grab, see if the sac is right there, how mobile it is, and even if we get strands of it or tear it in half, that usually will make that go away. Pain-wise, not bad, you're okay? Mm-hmm. Good. That's good if we get some of that sac wall out. If it's easy and it's right there and it's not painful, I usually do try. If I can get them through the very small holes that we make. Yeah, a little there. Boy, she has one right there still. Let's see where that went. It's like a little cluster I thought I felt there. There it was, right underneath the other one. Good. That was actually bigger than the two that were on top, so that'll get that flat for her when you pull that. It works well. Good. Keep moving along here. And go through and get this whole cluster, and then we're going to get some good deep squeezing on there. And a little on the last one right there. Good. And we'll go through with a good grip here. Get the very deep part of these. Very good, little hairs. Trying to keep those together. Really does matter to come from each angle, top and bottom, left and right, to really clear the sac there. We've been working on her now, I think, for 4 or 5 months, and on her stomach, I have not seen hardly any regrowth yet of the ones that we haven't taken the sac of. I do see one sac right there that will easily come out. That's it. Sometimes that sac will be right at the surface and you can just grab it. It's worth the 10 seconds to do if you can. There it is. Perfect. Okay, so we have a pretty big one there. I'll go on that side and then we can come around maybe. Yeah. We have some more coming, right?
I think so.
Little poke, that was a big one. Did that hurt at all? No? Mm-hmm. Good. A lot of people ask if these hurt, and that was a good size one that was very deep, but I only make that little poke right at the surface. Mm-hmm. And they shouldn't be painful. These aren't really painful cysts for the most part. Some of them get inflamed, but it shouldn't be too bad. Do you want to see if that big one has a sac near the surface or not? That's a little bit there. Squeeze out the bottom. Just strands. Good. You have bits and pieces there. was kind of dry. Felt interesting if it had been an older one. Yeah, just a dry pocket. If I'm pushing too hard, just let me know. Okay, a couple inflammatory ones here on the side. And that was another question I saw in the comments. Do these ever get inflamed or did they become painful? And on my patient that has the very large one, she had several that happened to. These were a little inflamed. You okay there? Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, it looks like they're drying up a little. Kind of like a little pus pocket in there. Not getting a lot out. So those could have been small ones that just got a lot of inflammation. It's just like a little bit of pus kind of purulence in there. Not a whole lot of that. There we go. Got it. You okay? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's kind of drying up almost. With a little bit of pus and blood around it. Could have been a little cyst there too. You can see that. See if I can get that out of the other one. That one popped out pretty well. That's that purulence that we see. So if they were getting inflamed, there you go. I could tell from that first one, there's a little bit, it can congeal a little as it's drying up into like even almost hardened like that one we just saw. So that one is too. I just made it about a 1/2 millimeter bigger so I could get that out. What you don't want to do is have one that's inflamed come in and start poking on it and then not get the contents out. That will cause it to get inflamed again. We don't want that. We want to get that kind of hardened stuff out. Very good. Okay. So that's what was in there. You can see it's almost like a follicular cyst. There is a little capsule in it. That was kind of the sac as it got inflamed and started drying up. And that is the sac. That's kind of what they look like if you were to just take them out and be able to pop them out in one piece. And we could do that because it was inflamed. We get Band-Aids on that one too. But that's interesting. There's just a little pocket down there. Just a regular Steato. Good. The last bit there. So it was interesting to see that one that popped out in a whole piece with the sac around it. That's kind of what they look like. There's some inflammation under it with a little bit of pus too. So we'll put a Band-Aid on that one. I don't think we got that one. Nothing bleeding too bad, which is good. And then she'll get you cleaned up and get some Band-Aids on, bigger ones. Thank you. Yeah, we did about 5, 10, 15, probably about 25 or 30. Somebody will count exactly. That shouldn't be too painful later or anything like that. Just a little sore from squeezing. Mm-hmm. Kind of come through and just get the bottoms here. The last kind of dry squeeze, dry glove so nothing's slipping. That's a sac there. There it comes. Nice. Little attachment at the bottom, not a lot. Usually they kind of just break apart and break off. That one did. That's good. Little strands on that one. Tried the big one already. Okay, so we'll get her all cleaned up. She's did great there today. Thanks to her for sharing. Every time we do these, there's always something unique, like that one that popped out as a hole because it was inflamed and it was drying up. When they get puffy, there's a lot of fluid in there, but then the body will start kind of draining and reabsorbing that, and it dried up, but that inflammation may have separated it. It just let it come out as one little bean, kind of what it looked like. The others were pretty standard. She had all different sizes, but we just kind of keep moving around per body section and clear the medium to large ones. And we do that so we can reduce shadowing from above. So she can wear a bikini or wear a low cut dress and you're not going to see a lot of bumps. That's the main concern. Sacs come out easily, we take them. If not, or we're not seeing any towards the surface, we're not digging deeper, making a wider hole that'll cause more scarring in the surface. So thanks to her for sharing. Thanks for popping by.